Journey is a band that has been around for a long time. If you grew up in the 80s, they were a band that you could not escape. And I know I'm already like 10 seconds into this video and I'm using a bad pun, but this band was big. For me, I always liked the songs. They were everywhere. They were on the radio, they were on MTV. There was even a Journey Escape video game for the Atari. So this was a period from the late 70s to the late 80s when Steve Perry was in the band. After that, they kind of went a little underground in the 90s, but they became very popular again in the 2000s due to TV shows like Glee and the song Don't Stop Believin' being on the final episode of The Sopranos. These two shows brought back this band the same way that like Stranger Things is now bringing back Metallica and Kate Bush. So if you grew up in the 2000s, they were also very big. The band has gone through many lineup changes over the years. The only constant member is Neil Schon. He's the guitarist. Their current vocalist is Arnel Pineda. He's a young man from the Philippines. He was discovered on YouTube. He has a voice very similar to Steve Perry, and there's a whole movie on this called Don't Stop Believin', Every Man's Journey. It's a very good movie. I recommend you check it out if you haven't already. Now, this is the band's first album in 11 years. They had a lot of drama over the past decade. There were like legal disputes, there were some arrests, heart attacks, and this album has been in the works for a while now. So on this album, they have Randy Jackson, who I'm talking about, the American Idol judge, not the guy from Zebra. He plays bass in this, even though he's no longer in the band anymore. First album since Raised on the Radio with Randy Jackson, and also the first album not to have longtime bass player since that album, Ross Valerie. He was let go from the band. Another interesting fact is that the album Raised on the Radio was originally supposed to be called Freedom, but Steve Perry didn't like that name and he wanted to change it. So let's talk about this album, Freedom. It's a classic Journey album. It's fairly long, 70 minutes long. It has 15 songs. The songs fit into like 3 different categories. They have the anthemic rockers, very reminiscent of their classics from the 80s. There's some ballads, something the band is very well known for. Then there's some like harder rockers, and these all have really killer guitar riffs, a sound closer to hair metal. So for the rest of the video, I'll just kind of like divide it into those 3 categories, and I'll just like run through the songs. So the first songs I'll talk about, which is like the majority of the album, are these like anthemic arena rock types of songs. So we have Together We Run, standard rock song, very great arena rock sound, lots of keyboards, melodic singing, really good guitar solo. This album has lots of good guitar solos. Don't Give Up on Us, this is one of the singles, has a classic sound, kind of reminds me a little of like Separate Ways a little bit, very radio friendly. Guitar solos are very melodic and very catchy song. Then You Got the Best of Me, another one of the singles. This one has like an 80s style music video shot in black and white, like a live setting. And speaking of live setting, this one actually sounds really great live, I'm sure. And it just has a classic sound. And The Way We Used to Be, very classic sound, reminded me of something from their 80s period. Has a nice groove, another one of the singles. And one of the songs I was more familiar with, has a great keyboard sound. Solo sounded good and a nice driving rhythm, and this is the one song that like sticks in my head. Then All Day and All Night, the song is a great bass, and one I've always loved. I always loved the bass guitar sound in this band. Has a classic sound, very anthemic, great vocal delivery, and kind of funky, and really good sound quality. Don't Go, classic Journey style arena rock anthem, and everything you would expect in a Journey song. United We Stand, this is this classic Journey, very accessible sound, where pretty much anyone can enjoy this type of song. Vocals are really good and some cool guitar fills mixed into the melodies. And Life Rolls On, another classic Journey arena rock song. Keyboard sounds very good, kind of a slow start, but does pick up as it moves along. Now there were 4 ballads out of the 15 songs, so we have Still Believe in Love, a slow ballad. The guitar solo actually reminded me a little of Santana, and this band has their origins from the band Santana in the early 70s. The bass guitar sounds very good, lots of keyboards, lots of layers of sound, and really good production. Live to Love Again, a classic ballad, cool guitar fills, just really good keyboard sound, very melodic. Afterglow, another great ballad, very smooth, melodic, slow drum beat, very nice and kind of has like a jazzy type of feel to it. And my favorite ballad is Beautiful As You Are. This is the last song on the album. Has finger-picked acoustic guitars, kind of shows off a soft rock side of the band. Then they incorporate some more of the band into the song, like guitars and piano as the song moves on. Just a classic Journey sound. The guitar solo is very melodic and reminds me of classic 80s hair metal. And the song does get a little heavier as it moves towards the end, but just ends with like this really cool, like soft acoustic passage. So this was my favorite of the ballads. And lastly, there were like 3 other songs, and these were like hard rock. Now we have Come Away With Me, one of the heavier songs. Now it's not a metal song, but it kind of moves into more of like a classic hair metal song. A little faster pace, more of a rocking guitar riff, some funky guitar playing, and lots of energy in this one. And like I always say, the bass guitar sounds good. And Let It Rain, one of the harder rockers. This one has like a blues rock feel. Also a little funky. Lots of cool guitar riffs in this one. They have some cool guitar effects. The guitars are a little more like distorted. They still have that classic sound, and probably one of the more underrated songs on the album. And Holding On, a hard rocker, has a cool intro riff. And another sound classic to like a classic hair metal. They incorporate some keyboards into the mix. And again, the playing is very good in this one. You know, the riff is a little more complex. Vocals are always on point. So in conclusion, this album is just very consistent. If you like their classic albums, you'll like this. Has a very good production value. One thing about this band, I've always liked their bass guitar sound, and this album just has, you know, lots of it. The album has a nice balance of all the instruments, such as guitars and keyboards. They're all balanced very well. So therefore, I don't really have anything negative to say about it, other than it's just a very long album. But then again, it's been over 10 years, so I guess they wanted to just like, you know, put in all of their best songs that they have been working on. So my score for this is an 8 out of 10. Let me know in the comments what you think. So my next video will be Neil Young's new album, which is actually an old album called Toast. I'm working on a collaboration video with both the Chill Dude on the Couch and the Green Man. His first time on my channel. We're going to talk about the Megadeth's Countdown to Extinction. So we'll be recording that soon, but we'll probably release it on the 14th. That's the anniversary, and some more stuff. So thanks for watching. See you in the next one.